Randy, the fourth book is the one we're going to be dealing with today. Seems like we're getting slimmer and slimmer, but let me tell you, that doesn't have to do with, okay, I'm not getting slimmer and slimmer, but anyway, the books are. And yet, it's almost as if the things that you say there are condensed and really come through like jewels. And this book is called The Grace and Truth Paradox. The Grace and Truth Paradox. And rather than talking about how that deals with a worldview, we'll get into that in the course of things here. So let's begin right at the very first. Let's start with some definitions. How do you define grace? This is grace and truth. Let's define grace.
Grace is often defined, and well defined, I think, as God's unmerited favor. And the word unmerited is key there. Of course, it's His favor, but the fact that there's nothing we can do to earn it. We don't deserve it. And so somebody will say, well, I asked God to forgive me, but I don't deserve to be forgiven. Well, if you deserved to be forgiven, you wouldn't need to be forgiven. If you deserved God's grace, you wouldn't need God's grace. And so I think grace is this attribute of God that He manifests to us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. God extends His grace to us, and grace is not just the way we are converted. Grace is to be the way we live. Day by day, I am dependent upon the grace of God to do good things in me and good things through me.
Let me ask this. Is there a difference between grace and mercy?
I think mercy is something that is also an attribute of God, but you can have mercy on a person who perhaps is just a needy person, and so you do a merciful thing toward them. I think grace encompasses more of, this is not just this person out there that's in a bad condition that I'm having this mercy toward. But grace is when this person has done great harm to me and has rebelled against me and has hated me. And now I look at that person and I say, I invite you to become part of my family and sit at my table, and I will pay a huge price through the giving of my own life or the life of my son so that you can become qualified to sit at the table with me. And that is so astounding. And that's why, John Newton, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. And by the way, one time I mentioned this in the Grace and Truth Paradox, one time I was speaking at a conference, actually it was a rally, and a woman got up, beautiful voice, and she started singing Amazing Grace, one of my favorite songs and probably one of your favorite songs. And she started, and it was great until it got to word number 8 or 9 or whatever it was, but Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. And I thought, here we are, revising the author's original, wretch, because we don't want to say wretch, see, because wretch is demeaning. Yes, it is, and rightfully so, because we're wretches. And here's the thing. If John Newton had just considered himself to be sort of a morally neutral soul, instead of a wretch, then to him, God's grace would not have been amazing. Oh, God is kind to souls. No, God shows His grace to wretches who don't even begin to deserve what God gives them. It changes everything. And that's why I think today, to many people, they can sing Amazing Grace, but because they don't come to terms with the fact that they deserve hell, we all deserve hell, that we are morally wretches, rebels against God. Because if you don't come to terms with that, then you will never believe that God's grace is so amazing, and you will never have the depth of gratitude and thanksgiving that you should have.